Tom Brady footage, and he is still playing. He just got a 2-year extension through the 2021 season, but 2020 and 2021 are actually void years, which is similar to the other guy we were just talking about, it's Drew Brees, who has a 5-year extension that he got in 2016 that includes 3 void years. And when Tom Brady was talking about it yesterday, he kind of compared himself to just any other guy on the team that's, just trying to prove himself.
Yes.
It's really the reality for most guys in the NFL. I don't want to think that I'm any different than everyone else. Football's a tough business. It's a production business. And, I'm ready to go this year. And that's really what matters. And that's where my focus is. It's a unique situation. It is what it is. That's a good line. So whoever said it, it's very pertinent. So, like I said, there's a lot of guys who have, 1 year left on their contract. So the situation, I got 1 year to go, and we'll see what happens.
So humble. Just another guy. Might as well be a backup punter.
This is what drives people crazy about Tom Brady.
Wonderful human. Why? What's wrong with that?
I mean, come on. You're not every other guy who's going into a year of the contract where you can be cut. That's just, it's not the same thing.
Sure sounds like he thinks that, though.
It's what the Patriots do. They convince themselves that they're underdogs every single year. I don't know how they do it.
Mind control.
It is mind control. It makes no sense. What do you mean? What do you mean? It's Tom Brady.
It seems to bother you as a Pittsburgh native and a Miami Dolphins fan.
It drives me insane. I have a lot of respect for what the Patriots have done, because how can you not, especially Tom Brady? But it's amazing how they do this every single year. It's like us against the world. Everybody's doubting us. Nobody's giving us, any credit.
Just another guy.
I'm just another guy who's going to prove himself and make sure I don't get cut next year.
I love Belichick's mind control.
It's fascinating. It is, but you know what, though? This is part of the reason why Brady is so great, because it's not easy to get to the top, but it's even harder to stay there. And part of the reason why the greats are consistently great is because they convince themselves that they're not great, and they have to keep working, and they have to keep reinventing themselves, and they have to keep changing their body and paying attention to the trends and seeing what's happening in their surroundings.
They get, as Greg Popovich says, they get over themselves quickly.
Yes.
Like everybody's into themselves at 24. Can you get over yourself? Tim Duncan got over himself really quickly, and Tim's like, I want to win a bunch of games and titles. And then, by the way, I'm not just saying this being glib. This is hard for everybody.
Yeah, absolutely. And even Jordan is not somebody that anyone would consider to be humble, but he found ways to get motivated every single time. And he had this mentality that everyone was against him.
Yeah, well, I would say this, Joey. Phil Jackson came to him and said, you want to score 60, do you want to win? Michael had to get over himself a little bit. He had to get over the scoring titles. Right. And Michael, as a businessman, looked at it and thought, I want to win over score. So I think Michael Jordan, to some degree, got over having to score 60.
Yeah, I mean, everyone has to go, most people, I won't say everyone, because some people just have that mentality.
Right.
But most people do have to get over themselves. But this is really part of the reason why the Patriots are so great every year. It's fascinating. I'm making jokes, but if you can convince yourself that you have to work harder than everybody else and you have something to prove and that nobody believes in you, like, that is a great motivating factor to stay working hard when you have as many championships as they do and when you have had the success that they've had. Let's go to the Browns. So Freddie Kitchens wants to make it known that zero insider information will be leaked from the Browns organization under his watch. He delivered that message yesterday, responding to some criticism from former offensive line coach Bob Wiley.
Listen, Bob wasn't under contract. All right, he forgot to tell everybody that. He wasn't under contract. He had talked about retiring forever. All right? So sometimes when a person says something, they have to be made to feel relevant. The days of inside information and the days of unnamed sources and stuff like that have ended. You're not going to get any information like that ever. Anybody. And if I ever see it, they're fired immediately. That's the way we're running this organization. And I can take it. John Dorsey can take it. We won't crack, I promise you.
Don't think he had to tell us all that stuff, really.
I don't want to be too hard on Freddie Kitchens.
Yeah, I know. I agree. You're right.
I really don't. I don't like this. I don't see any point in responding to him at all. Just next question and kill the story. It's not worth it. There's nothing about it that's going to help in responding. And then you run into the situation, which he did, where you start making these outlandish threats that really mean nothing. It's organizations that don't have leaks because, as we discussed earlier, everyone's on the same page.
Yep.
You have one direction, you have one mantra,
and
you have
trust
one
the
goal,
leader.
You trust the leader, and you trust each other. That's how leaks don't happen. The Clippers, the Spurs, the Patriots. Everyone does their job, knows their role. There's not a fear of constantly being fired.
Yeah.
Literally what you're saying is the opposite of it. When people are afraid for their jobs and afraid for their future,
leaks.
That's when leaks happen because they have to control their narrative. And if they do get fired, well, why did you get fired? It's so dysfunctional over there. Were you a part of the reason why? I'm rooting for the Browns this year. I actually do want them to be successful, and I don't want to be too hard on Freddie Kitchens.
That's fair.
He's in a tough situation
early.
as it is, and it is very early. Finally, so this is interesting. We were just discussing this as well. Mitch Trubisky is coming off a productive sophomore season under what was then the first-year head coach Matt Nagy. He was coach of the year. They had 12 wins and went to the playoffs, but now we're taking a look into this season, and Bears quarterback coach told ESPN this is the time to push the envelope. If not now, when? Coach Nagy is a great coach to play quarterback for, specifically in these types of settings in training camp, because he allows you to go out there, test some throws to see what you can get away with. We're constantly pushing that mentality. And now the report out of Bears camp is not quite so
Trubisky's
positive.
been uneven and at times disappointing. Again, like their GM, like their coach, like their roster, love their defense. Usually, all my belief systems start with coach quarterback. I don't love their quarterback.
I'm there with you. First of all, I think that the Packers are going to win.
So do I.
The division this year.
So
I think
I.
that Aaron Rodgers is one of those chip on the shoulder guys, and he has everything to prove this year.
Better
and he's had a
defense.
lot of people talk bad about him the past couple of years and doubted him, and now he's in a fresh new situation. And I think that they are going to be very good.
Yep.
I don't think that the Bears are going to be bad.
No.
I just don't trust Mitch Trubisky as that guy in the moments. And can he lead you to a comeback victory? Can he make that clutch throw in the big moments? And that's what matters in the postseason.
Yeah, could they become the Chargers, a cold weather version of the Chargers? We know the roster's good.
Right.
We like a lot about him, but do you ever trust him in a big spot? That's where I feel like with the Chargers, they got to show me they can win in that big spot. Because I know the talent's there. I know Chicago's talent's there. But, boy, if you give me this Chicago team against Aaron in the playoffs or Goff in the playoffs, McVay in the playoffs, Kyle Shanahan in the playoffs, I don't see it. Philadelphia, Wentz, I don't see it.
I hate to use cliches, but it's a game of inches.
Yes.
And those crucial moments, those split-second decisions are the difference between winning and losing in the playoffs in the NFL. And I don't know if I can trust that yet.
Yep. Enjoy with the news.